Okay, are we live? Just checking the audio. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Yep, would seem that we are live. Okay. Hello everybody. How are you all doing? Scott here. It's been a little while since I've done a live stream, so I thought I'd jump in today and do one because I didn't do a video last week. Yeah, last week I took some time off. I don't know if you've seen, but I put out a new Christmas song just over a week ago. And getting that done was really tiring, really exhausting. It was a lot of hard work. I'm really super proud of it. And if you haven't heard it yet, then you should go check out my Christmas song. It's called Santa Don't Come Down My Chimney Anymore. It's on the channel. Go check it out if you haven't. Anywho, let's get into today's stream. So, in today's stream, I kind of want to talk about 2020. When I get to December, it's a month where I start to chill out a bit before we pick things up again in January. I start making plans for the new year, but I also reflect on the year that's been. And I think I can pretty much speak for every human being on earth when I say that this year has not been what we thought it was going to be at all when the year started. Well, unless you're, a scientist, a virologist who was in the know, because from what we know, coronavirus was, obviously taking off at the end of 2019. But alas, yeah, obviously it's been a hard year for a lot of people, but that's not what I want to talk about today. This isn't going to be the doom and gloom show. This is going to be a positive show about taking the positives of this year and going on from that. Essentially, that's what I want to do. Yeah. Awesome. So, man, 2020 has been nuts in so many things for me. And when I talk about 2020, what I'm really referring to is from mid March till now. Because really, when people refer to 2020, they're really referring to lockdown. As soon as that happens, that's when the year began. It's kind of like the first 2.5 months of 2020 were more like this epilogue to 2019. Like they were unofficially, part of that year. Really, this year began mid-March as soon as we went to lockdown. And so where I was at, up till then, I was gigging, I was doing my usual thing, getting the studio all set up. And yeah, I mean, Philly, from what you can see around me, all the black MLV on the walls, the acoustic corking, the foam, most of that was up by around mid-March. As soon as we went to lockdown, we started building this studio, this space back in November, the beginning of that month. And yeah, by mid-March, it was ready to roll. So yeah, it's crazy timing. That's the first thing. Like, if I hadn't have decided to move home and build a studio when I decided to, then I don't know what the last near year would have been like for me, what it would have looked like, what I would have done with myself. I've really no idea. It's crazy how so many things click into place, because 2019 for me wasn't a great year. Apart from the, building a YouTube channel, recording my third album, and deciding to move the studio, last year was a bit of a bummer for me. And so yeah, I moved out of a place I was living at in Winchester for many years. And I moved in with a family. It was basically a kind of I was kind of a lodger with this family living in a house just outside of Winchester. And I just wasn't happy there. It wasn't my scene. And so after about 4 months I decided to move out, and not really having anywhere to go in Winchester, I decided to finally come home after 9 years. I lived away from home since I was 19, so I was back, and we were going to build this recording studio and hopefully build myself a life here away from Winchester, which was a bit of a crazy move for me and something that I'd wanted to do for a long time. A big part of me wanted to move home and wanted to do something with the space we have here, which we've now done. you know um But actually doing it, actually going, right, I'm actually moving home, was a big step. And honestly, I miss Winchester. I miss the place, I miss the people a lot. But alas, I'm here now, and have been making the best of it. I've been back home for just around a year now, and could never have comprehended what was going to happen. You know, one friend described me as being like Noah, like before the flood happened, I built the boat, this being the studio, so that when the flood happened, that I wouldn't sink, essentially. And that's kind of what happened, is that because of this space, I've actually been able to use lockdown, to be able to use 2020 productively, to be able to get some cool stuff done. And to I can actually look back on this year now and go, yeah, there's been some stuff that's not been great, but there's been a lot of really cool stuff that's come out of having this space, out of yeah, being able to have a lot of time. So yeah, so here's what it looks like for me. So it's mid-March, essentially. It's the week before we go into lockdown. I take a week off work, which looking back seems incredibly cheeky now, but I took a week of annual leave. I In my part-time job, essentially, I teach music in prisons. So that's what I do. And so I took a week off from that to just chill out, play some video games and stuff, and relax. And so that's what I did. And then as that week went on, like all my plans, everything got cancelled. And then by the end of the week, they went, "Yeah, we're going into lockdown." So I was like, "Right, okay, crazy." And all I did for that week essentially was get stuff set up in here, get my computer finished up, putting the graphics card in it, getting the foam up on the walls, doing all of that jazz you know so by the time we went to lockdown, I was ready to go. And so, not I mean, none of us had any idea how long it was going to last, but I was like, right, well, so long as I'm in here, and I can't gig and I can't do stuff like that, let's try and make my YouTube videos just way better than they have been. I think around that point, back in March, I was around 850 subscribers. Now we're around 1,070 something, I think. So thank you to everyone who's subscribed since then, and thank you to everyone who's continued to stay on board here. And so yeah, my first project here in the studio, um, I wanted to record the songs what that the first handful of songs that I ever wrote in my very early teens. Um, with my first band, because it was they'd be my first songs recorded here in the studio. So I thought, okay, that's kind of there's the marriage there of like the first stuff I'm going to record here is not going to sound great. So one, I record the songs that I first wrote that aren't great, and so that could be interesting. So I don't want to record songs that I wanted to put out into the world properly, because I was like, I need to get used to using this space, recording in this space. I need to get used to the software, my new computer, all this stuff. So let's do some stuff without any stakes in it that I'm not planning to release. So I recorded, I think, 12 songs from my very first band, Piranha, which was a hell of a lot of fun. And listening back to them now, they are really awful recordings. Like they sound, they sound really awful, really janky, really just not great. Didn't really know what I was doing. Didn't really know how to use the microphones, how to set them up, where to put them. And this was after like last year where I recorded my third album. I was like still kind of very much a novice when I sat down in March to start recording. Um, but I did it, and it was a lot of fun. And they're up on the YouTube channel. There's a video going, the songs I wrote when I was 12 or 13, something like that. So you can listen to that if you like. They're not great songs, but you guys have said nice things about them, so thank you for that. So that was my first project, and the idea was, right, for 2020, I wanted to make 3 videos a week. That was the plan. And so I was like, let's try and just up the quality of them. So I got a new camera, I got some new gear, and instead I went from just doing recording acoustic guitar singing songs, just recording me singing songs to my horrible phone camera, to making these, bigger productions where I'm recording the drums and everything, and started just doing that more and more and more. And it became harder and harder to do multiple videos a week. So it went from 3 videos a week to 2 videos a week, but then it went up to 4 for a while. But then now it's down to 1, because as I found, as you try to increase the quality of these productions, it just takes more time, and so it's harder to just get out 3 videos a week. Hence, I'm just doing 1 at the moment. But yeah, that was a big deal. And yeah, again, it's kind of, I look back now to those recordings I was doing early on and to what the quality of stuff I'm doing now is, and there's been a big jump, I think, in quality. And I think part of it is I got some proper mixing speakers, which you can't hear. I got a pair of Yamaha mixing speakers, which all my friends were telling me to get. I got those, and it's just improved my mixes since then. I got them at the end of August, installed them in September, and voila, it's improved the quality a lot. And they say that a bad workman blames his tools, which I kind of think is, a saying that's maybe a bit outdated, or it doesn't apply to every field, because I was getting good at mixing with headphones, but actually nothing compares to mixing on speakers. You got a better spectrum of sounds, I think. And so, yeah, getting that set up was a huge deal. Um, and yeah, in terms of just making videos, making them every week, I didn't have work. I didn't have work, and so all I was doing every week, have been doing every week, is just making these YouTube videos and just boom, 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 getting them out. And I've had the time to improve, how to shoot a video, how to edit a video, how to record a song. I've had all this time to do that because I haven't been at work, because I haven't been out gigging, because I haven't been doing all the other stuff. And yeah, like, in my soul, I really miss it. In this entire time that I've been locked down since mid-March, I've played 3 gigs, all at the same place. And only one of them was, like, really good. The other 2, I think, either I was rusty, or I don't know. They just weren't. They didn't feel great to me. But the one in the middle was really good. And yeah, when I played those gigs the week after, I was a bit down, because I knew that it would be a while till I got to do that again before I got to go out and play in front of people. Um, and so that was hard. That was tricky. Getting over that sensation. Um, but I've used the time well. So the things that we've done, I made an instrumental track. I don't know if you heard that. I made this Ennio Morricone style instrumental track. Never really done an instrumental track myself, so that was really cool trying that out. Um, and I took cover songs. I took pop songs that came out this year, and without listening to them, I took the lyrics and wrote songs to those lyrics. So I took a Lady Gaga song, um, a Trevor Daniel, I don't even know who that is, Selena Gomez song, and a Jason Derulo song. And again, like, I don't listen to this kind of music usually, but I just thought it'd be funny to see what would happen if I took someone else's lyrics, to like a famous song, and did my own version of it. So I did that, which was really interesting. And I thought, oh, if maybe they gained some popularity, I could do like a reaction video, um, where I listen to the original versions and I give my thoughts on them. They didn't really take off. But that's that. I tried them out, and actually the Selena Gomez one, Past Life, I actually really like that song. I would actually go and play that one live if I could. It's one of my favorite things I've done all year. And last year, when I was doing my 3rd album, uh, it was really it was tricky, because on my first 2 albums, I had other people come in and adds their own creativity to the tracks, adds their own parts, come in and do that. But with the third album, I was like, for the most part, for 90% of it, it's all me. And so it was difficult in that regard because now I was having to write all these parts. I really had to put my money where my mouth is. Um, uh, and I had to write all these parts, and it was tricky. I really struggled with some songs for months, and then finally the part would come to me, and in the end, I got a product that I was proud of. Um, but this year, that's one thing I've been able to really focus on is writing for the different instruments and realizing where my strengths are in that. I think being able to have access to drums all the time has helped because I can just come in here and jam and play around on the kit. And because of that, I think I'm stronger on the drums. Because I'm not just drumming endlessly, I'm having to record drums to songs I've been putting together, you know, and sometimes it's not right straight away. So I go back in the kit and over and over again, just cycle repeat. I had a track I put out in I think November, early November, called "Be My Girl." I must have done beyond 10 drum takes on that. I think up to 20. I heard the song differently in my head. You know, I heard it going one way, but when I tried it out, it didn't work. And so I kept having to just try different things. Um, and so again, another benefit of having your own studio is you can do that. When you're in a proper recording studio, you kind of have to know what you're doing. You know, I've had many days in the studio where we haven't known what we were doing. We wasted a lot of time. You know, now there's a lot of trial and error here, so that's been one of the benefits. So just being able to record more and more drum parts and just getting better at it, that's been another benefit of this year. So yeah, when I move into next year and I look back, I can go, I think I'm a better drummer. I think I'm better at recording drums. um and for the most part, I've been recording drums with just two microphones, which is more of an old school kind of 70s setup. Um, and the reason for that is the efficiency of it. You know, if I'm making videos every week, you know, I'd keep the mic stands set up. You can see in some of my older live streams, you've just got one overhead mic set up and the kick drum mic is still in there. You know, I would come in and just want to jump on the kit straight away. I don't want to move stuff about. I just want it to sound good, you know. And I thought, you know, once I get it in a position where it sounds good in one recording, I'll just leave it there. I've taken it down recently because I've been using the mic stands for other things while we've been doing the Christmas song. But yeah, for ages, the overhead mic was just mic stand was just set up over there, ready to go. And yeah, I decided I wanted to do two mics because I heard from a lot of people I worked with, and people in studios that, you know, a lot of them saying all you need is two mics. You just need one overhead and one in the kick. And to me, you know, you can take people's word for it, but nothing compares to actually giving it a go and trying it out. So pretty much all this year while I've been doing full band demos and things like that, I've just been using one overhead mic and one mic in the kick drum. And I bought myself a really nice um uh Shure kick drum mic, which is fantastic. And since getting that on my birthday in July, I've just been the kick drums sounded better. I was using an SM58 in the kick before, which just did not quite do it for me. But yeah, recording drums with two microphones, I like it. I like the sound of it. It's kind of a more ragged sound, and there's a way to do it. You know, I've experimented with bringing the overhead up and down and up and down, and trying different microphones out. This microphone I'm using right now, the Rode, um, this one belongs to my friend Rob. Um, I've been using this one a lot for overheads. He'd come in having listened to some of my recordings using some of my other overhead mics. What I say other, the other ones he's lent me, the other overhead mics. And he go, actually, I think you should try out this one for this instrument, this one for this one. So that's been really invaluable. So yeah, that's part of it as well. Part of this year has been, despite lockdown, despite not being able to see as many people, I have had people to the studio when I've been allowed to. Um, to do some recording. Namely, my friend Tom uh, and my friend Rob. They've been coming to do a lot of recording here. Um, and yeah, we'll get into a little bit of what I've been doing with both of them and the plans for next year. But yeah, with Rob, he has a lot of technical expertise, so he'd come along, we do some recording, and he just had lots of ideas of how to set up the mics. He understands how the mics work inside, and I'm not a gearhead, I'm not a techie really. I can do some technical things, but really I'm more of a songwriter and a performer. I think, now compared to the beginning of the year, I'm more techie because I've just had this stuff to do, so I've got better at it. But I'd still say I'm more of a songwriter and a performer than that. But having Rob come to the studio and give little bits of advice while we've been recording things, I've just been picking things up, and he's been giving me advice on mixing and things like that. So I've learned how to better use compression and EQ this year. I still find compression weird. I'm still not used to it, but with EQ, he was basically saying, with EQ, what you can take stuff away, but you can't really put stuff in that wasn't there. And that was the problem with my third album, was that if I got a bad recording of something, I would just try putting stuff into it that wasn't there, different frequencies, and it came out a wee bit wonky at the end. I still love it, but a wee bit wonky. So picking up tricks like that have really helped out. Yeah, man. So yeah, doing the full band recordings has helped, and I've just been getting used to using recording software. So I'm a lot better at using Cubase now than I was earlier on in the year. Um, I can just move around the door a lot easier, and I think I could use Logic now. Because Rob, whenever he shows up, he brings his own gear and he uses Logic, and I've watched him use it, and I see the differences, but I see the similarities as well to Cubase. So I think that I could possibly move on to other doors. So that's another plus from me. And yeah, I'm generally, I think, more confident with using recording software now, and getting better results. And I think the biggest lesson from this year in terms of recording has been um, that you need to just get a good recording. That's it. You can't, don't fix it in post. Don't fix it after the fact. Get a good version of it. And when I did the Christmas song in November with Tom, when we were doing the Christmas song, I was always like, we got to just get the best recording of each thing. And so we'd go in and do lots of takes of things until we got it right. Tom would be more like, no, I think I got it a couple of takes ago. Let's just go back to that. So yeah, that was the thing we were trying to emphasize there. With the Christmas song, I was essentially like, this is probably gonna be the last song I put out this year, so I want it to like sound the best that it can sound. And so boom. There you go. We've got a comment here in the garden and the blessings. I just really love your new Christmas song. I'm so glad you like it. I'm really chuffed that people have responded to it. It's had over 300 hits now, and the hope is we can get it to 1,000 by Christmas Day. That would be awesome if we could still get there. I have to say, I'm a bit worn out. I'm really, after getting the Christmas song out there, I was just promoting it, and really just wanting to get it out there, and I still do. But part of it is it took so much work to get it done that now, like, it really took a lot of effort to sit in front of the microphone, in front of the camera today, because I'm so a bit burned out. As much as we're going to talk about this year and how cool and creative it's been for me, I'm also now kind of just like, oh, I'm so tired. I've done so much work this year, and I'm proud of myself that I've got all this work done. Like, no one's told me to do this. Like, literally, I could have had a holiday for the last boom, what, 8.5, 9.5 months, something like that. Um, so yeah, man. Yeah, it's been a lot of work. I could have just taken the time off, but I'm proud of myself that I've pushed through and have made lots of stuff, lots of cool stuff that I'm proud of. In the garden, yes, one again. Yes, I listen to it daily. Yep, I'm so glad you you enjoyed the Christmas song. Listening to it daily, that's a good Christmas song you should be listening to daily um in the winter time. Yeah, if you guys are watching along live, you can comment in the chat and we can have a conversation there as well. Or I'll just keep talking. Yeah, man. So in terms of the Christmas song, I guess I'll touch on that. I'll get a bit into that and how that happened. So again, if you haven't listened to the Christmas song yet, um, stop the live stream, go watch it, and then come back and let me know in the chat what you thought. It's called Santa Don't Come Down My Chimney Anymore. Which is a double entendre if you hadn't guessed. Yeah, so the Christmas song came out of an improvisation I did at the end of 2019. And I asked my subscriber base. I said, hey, give me some song titles, some Christmas song titles. I'm going to give myself 30 minutes, and in that 30 minutes I need to improvise songs to go along with these titles. So I think it was like 8 or 9 titles, and the first one that I came out with the first one that I came out with in that improv was Santa Don't Come Down My Chimney Anymore. I think the original song title actually was Santa I Don't Have a Chimney. And I'm sorry, I can't remember who actually came up with that title, but I'm so grateful to whoever did give me that song title, because it's been a real blessing, that song. Sorry, I'm just copying the link to the video and putting it. Yeah, I just put a link to the Christmas song in the live chat if you want to check it out. Yeah, so I was given it as a song title to improv a song to, so that's what I did. And in that original improv, which you can watch on YouTube as well, basically the melody for the verse and the chorus was there. So there was like a basic structure, and some of the ideas that I'd explore were there as well. So a lot of it was there in the improv. And as the Christmas period went on, I kept thinking about that song throughout Christmas 2019. I was like, that's cool. And in the back of my head, I said, if next year I get the studio set up and I get it sounding good, I want to do a full, big, huge version of the Christmas song, of this Christmas song. I want to finish writing it and put it out there for everyone to hear, because I think it will be really good when it's done. Again, at this point, this is Christmas last year, so it had a couple of the lyrics that are still there. It had some melody and it had the same chords, but it was very, very raw. And yeah, I kind of around that time I played around with a few lyrics, but nothing came to me. Instead, I've kind of been writing the song in the back of my mind throughout 2020. I stopped myself from really sitting down and working on the song till September, because I said I don't want to be working on a Christmas song in July. That's just a bit silly. I've got other stuff to work on. I'll do that. But when we get to September, that's when, if I'm going to do the Christmas song, I need to actually sit down and work it out. And yeah, I started putting it together piece by piece. And it's tricky because I've never done a Christmas song before. I don't know about you guys, if your songwriters watching, if you've done a Christmas song before. There's a whole mindset to it. There's a whole feel to getting a Christmas song right. And I feel like I was able to tap into it with this song. And I want to kind of explain why as part of this video. So I think Christmas as a period, as a season, as a holiday, as that space of time, I think there's a thing about it where we're nicer to one another. It's a nice time of year, and I think we're nicer to one another, and I think in that season, it's almost a callback to times past, to decades past, where we were just nicer to each other the whole year round. And I think as time's gone on, we've become colder and more insulated and hidden behind our glass screens and hidden behind social media. But I genuinely think that Christmas is a time where we are nicer to each other, we're warmer, and I feel like a good Christmas song needs to encapsulate that. So that's already a tall order. So how do you do that? And yeah, okay, so I'm going to get into it. Because I think the season is a callback to nicer times, I feel like the sound of the song has to be a callback to those eras as well. Um, so it has to be a callback to, mid 20th century, essentially, in sound. And so with my song, I want it to have a bit of a retro flavor to it, so that when you heard it, you felt like you've heard it before. That was the idea. I wanted it to have that feel. And part of it is the song's got a different time signature. So if you don't know what a time signature is, it basically means how many beats in each bar of the song. So most popular music's got 4 beats to a bar. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, boom, okay, so that's the feel, right? And so with this song, it's in 6/8, which is a bit quirky, not super quirky, but it's not the standard. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's got this different feel to it. It's not a waltz. That would be 3/4. That'd be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Instead, the 6/8, it's got this kind of bounciness to it. That's not quite a waltz, but a little bit waltzy, that you can swing to, and yeah, I think that adds to the Christmassy feel of the song. So getting a retro kind of sound to it, and also going for, the almost kind of offbeat time signature, I think captured something. I usually write songs in 4/4. Very rarely write outside of that. But now in next year, I'm tempted to try other things out. Try 5/4 and try writing a waltz. Or should I say finishing a waltz, because I did start writing one. So yes, that's part of it. And also with a Christmas song, there's lots of different subgenres of Christmas song. There's the anticipation Christmas song, right? Where it's all about building up to Christmas and the excitement around it. Like Chris Rea's Driving Home for Christmas, which I won't sing because I'll get a copyright strike. But the song. The song is about the character in the song driving home for Christmas, can't wait to see the faces, and it's all about that build up and anticipation to Christmas, right? And so I knew with this song, from the improv, that it wasn't that kind of Christmas song, because in the improv it was all about this kind of romantic relationship between the main character and Santa. I know, right? And so it wasn't that. So I had to explore Christmas songs and look at them and look at other subgenres and go, what's it fit into? And really, I feel like it's a blend of 2 other genres. It's basically the melancholy Christmas song, which is your fairy tales of New York, and your lonely this Christmas, mixed with the romantic Christmas songs of All I Want for Christmas Is You, or Santa Baby, put a present under the tree for me. So yes, so that's the idea. The idea of this song is it's kind of written for a female singer, which in the Garden and the Blessings I just said, yep, in the description I say it is for a female singer. So if you'd had a female singer singing the Christmas song, it would fit neatly into that subgenre of the romantic Christmas song, where there's almost a subgenre of that where it's the Christmas song where you're being romantic towards Santa. So I don't know whether no one's mentioned this in the comments or said anything to me, but I was very aware writing it and very aware singing it. I was like, are people going to take this as like a gay love song? I don't know. I I guess I guess it could be. I mean, I'm not, you know. Um, but I have like no problem anyone interpreting it as that because everyone's welcome to interpretation. I kind of just I find it funny singing a romantic song about Santa. It makes me laugh. And usually if a song topic makes me laugh, I'm gonna sing it. Uh and so that's kind of the feel of the song. But yeah, I did perceive it as like, are people going to think this is like me coming out? And that was not the intention. So thankfully, I think that's probably me just thinking that. So that's me. I always think about my songs from different angles. So that was the idea. But yeah, I would really love to hear it sung by a female singer in the future. Because I think that would be really interesting to hear. Because yeah, it's kind of written for a female singer, but done by me. Um, a lot of my songs are actually conversations between two people. Um, and that was something I thought about for the song. I thought maybe the second verse of the song is going to be Santa singing back at the main character who sings in the first verse. I was going to have it like that for a while, but in the end, I just didn't go that way. In the end, it all was about the main character. Pardon me. Um, so yeah, that's something that I thought about doing as well. So yeah, as I said, there's the different subgenres. There's the building anticipation Christmas song. Um, yeah. Um, yeah, the building anticipation Christmas song. That wasn't what it was going to be. Instead, it was a mix of the romantic Christmas song and the melancholy. Um, and I'm a big fan of Fairy Tale of New York. I mean, really, I think anyone who appreciates music probably appreciates Fairy Tale of New York. I know it's a song that's kind of steeped in controversy now because of, the F word that's in it, I still love the song. I understand why that group of people would feel like, actually, no, in 2020, we don't want a song with that in. But I also think we have to look on songs with a historical context in the way we watch some old films and old TV shows and go, okay, they had different values at the time. I think we have to view things and listen to things in context. So I think that's important with when you listen to Fairy Tale of New York. So there's that. Um, there was a message here from In the Garden and the Blessings saying you should try it as a female singer next year. That would be funny, wouldn't it? Yeah, maybe not. We will see. Yeah, next year I've got a lot of hopes for the Christmas song next year. I feel like this is just the beginning with it. I feel like if we don't get the momentum this year for it and it doesn't go viral, I guess next year we can continue that journey and we can push the song out further, because hopefully by this time next year I'll be able to gig, which means I can play this song to different audiences night after night. I'll have it on CD. I can sell it to people. More people will hear it, and hopefully, as a Christmas song, it will grow in popularity and become a bigger thing. I believe this is just the start for it. I honestly believe, and this is probably me being cocky, I think if I brought this song out on a major label or just on any label right now, it probably would have done. It would be a big song this Christmas. It's probably being cocky, but I think it's a good Christmas song. There you go. Uh, um, but my Christmas song would not be the same without Tom. So my friend Tom Riddler, who you have seen in my Halloween improv video, he also plays bass in the Christmas song video, but he played way more instruments on that track. but I only had him for a couple of hours when we filmed that. And when we filmed his bass part, he actually hadn't recorded a lot of his other parts yet. But yeah, Tom added a whole load. So Tom and me have been writing songs with each other since we were 15, 16. So when we were in our last year of school, we started writing songs and gigging, and we played all across the map. Our biggest gig was we played the Birmingham NEC, which, if you know music venues in England, the Birmingham NEC is there's a big place. Like Foo Fighters play there. We got to play in a massive stage, and we played this one song there where we played so loud we broke some of their equipment. And that song we are actually going to be doing in January. There's a song called The Dirt Is Flying that we did, that we wrote when we were 16, 17, that we're going to be bringing out in January, that we recorded in between breaks of doing the Christmas song. I thought about putting it out the week after the Christmas song, but then when people started sharing the Christmas song, I that following week, I didn't want to interrupt that flow by going, oh, here's another brand new song. So I thought we're just gonna let the Christmas song sit. We'll put out Dirt Is Flying in January. So hopefully the first week of January. All depends on when Tom can come here to film his part, because yeah, we can't do it without him. Anyway, so Tom, he plays bass, and he's played bass in all the bands I was in with him, but he plays other instruments as well, and he really got his chance to shine here. And really, I think if Tom had just played bass on this, the song would not be as good as it is, because I wrote the song, I wrote the guitar solo, I did all that. I played the drums, I played the electric guitar, and I played the Fender Rhodes electric keyboard part, and I played percussion. But Tom came in, and every time he came in November, he would just add little twinkly bits to the tracks. Here to my right, I've got a big old MIDI keyboard that my friend Rob kindly donated to the studio, that we used extensively throughout the Christmas song. So Tom added synth parts, he added bells, he added oh crikey, a whole bunch of stuff. He played the sleigh bell part on there. He added some backing vocals. He added some extra little acoustic guitar bits in the second verse and the choruses. And then the last part, I think Tom added, or one of the last parts he added, was the string section, which just made the song go through the roof. I mean, we were loving it every step of the way. We'd be here late night in November, like 10, 11 o'clock at night, still tinkling around with the song, laughing and giggling, because we were like, is this as cool as we think it is? I don't know. Hopefully people like this, but we worked in it, and we worked in it, and we worked in it. And yeah, finally we left the strings part to last, which we programmed via MIDI. So it's not actual strings, it's programmed, but it's 4 different layers of strings. And Tom did all of that. I kind of described to him what I wanted and where I wanted it, and then he went whoom, and added it. And I nearly cried then and there listening to it with the strings before I'd mixed it. I was just like, oh my word, like this sounds epic. It sounded huge, and there, boom, it was. When we had that, I was like, this is something special, this song now. So yeah, I couldn't have done it without Tom. He added so much to the track. There's about 25, 26 tracks on the recording, and at least half of those have to be Tom, if not more. So I couldn't have done it without him. And this year in general has been a really cool year in one specific way, in that me and Tom have started writing songs together, and we haven't properly done that in about 9 years. We kind of went separate ways. When I moved to Winchester, I after a while went solo, and Tom and what was left of the old band went on, adapted, started a new band with the remaining members, and then became this really, really cool hard rock outfit called Blind Fire Rebels, who have some awesome stuff on Spotify. You can check them out there. They had a couple of EPs out, and they did some stuff. And I went off and did my own thing. So we kept in contact over the years, but we weren't writing songs together. And it's only now this year, after we've done the Christmas song and a couple of the other things I'll talk about, that I've just realized like how much I've missed that writing partnership, and how good it's been. It was like in January, Tom was helping me build the computer, which is now the heart of the studio. He was helping me build it because he can do that as well. He's one of these guys, one of these annoying people that, like, if there's something he wants to try out, he'll try it and probably is going to be really good at it. So he built me my computer. And so while he came to build the computer, we'd kind of just jam around on the guitars and come up with all sorts of ideas. And there was one idea that we came up with back in January that I was really hot on at the time and wrote a bunch of lyrics for, but then hit a wall and just stopped writing for. And now in the last month, since we started doing the Christmas song together, the song started finishing itself in my head. And so hopefully going to have that out early next year. That's another one we worked on. Yeah. Yeah. When back during early lockdown, when we weren't really allowed to meet up with people, it was it was pretty hard, But as soon as they allowed us to meet up with people at a distance outside, me and Tom decided to meet up in Staines, which is just down the road from here. We decided to meet up on the green in Staines with our acoustic guitars and have a socially distant jam. And so I brought along my phone and just recorded the jams that we came up with. And one of those turned into a song before the lockdown. And so Tom just started doing this kind of Johnny Cash country kind of riff, and I just started putting some chords over the top of it. And it just kind of evolved from there. And it was a song about missing things I hadn't done during lockdown, missing gigs, missing the cinema, missing going on dates, missing going to the pub with my friends. And yeah, over the next few months, those ideas evolved. And in August, we finally put it down on tape. And that's another track you can check out on the channel. Sorry, bit my tongue there. It's another track you can check out on the channel called Before the Lockdown as part of Ukulele Month. And it's another one that when I look back on this year, I'm really proud of that song. Really, really proud of that song. And we did a lot with that. And hopefully going to do a lot of it in the future. So yeah, I'm really happy that me and Tom are writing songs again. That's been one plus to this year, that we're kind of doing that again, which is really cool. It's always fun when you get to write music again with someone that you have clear, like there's obvious synergy there. Like you're not having to really try hard to like rekindle something. It's just kind of there, and that's really nice. And as someone who writes a lot of songs alone, and for the majority of this year, I've recorded stuff here alone. It's been really nice to have a friend drop in every now and then and write some songs with me. That's been really cool. So yeah, man, it's been awesome. And yeah, hopefully going to do some more stuff next year. Tom is also playing on my not my third album. He is playing on an EP I'm bringing out next year. So that's the next thing I'm going to talk about, is that while I've been doing the videos weekly for YouTube and while I've been doing the Christmas song, I've also been working on a brand new EP. It's called the Brexit Trilogy, and it's coming out early next year. And the hope is that we'll put it out online. I'm going to make music videos for it. There's going to be a lot of stuff going along with it. We're going to put it out there. And hopefully I'll be able to gig it and tour it and make some merch for it. That's the idea. So yeah, early next year, we're going to be bringing out the Brexit Trilogy EP. I recorded it all here at the studio. It features Tom on bass on one of the tracks, which he also plays a little bit of guitar on and a bit of percussion. And then the other two tracks in the EP, because there's only three, hence the trilogy, feature my friend Billy, who I'm going to talk about a bit in a second as well. So yeah, we're going to release this EP, and they feature on it, and we recorded it all here at Superton Studios. And my friend Rob, he is mixing it as we speak. So yeah, it's 3 tracks: British Politics, Boris is a Monster, and Kippers and Champagne. And it's about Brexit and about the awkwardness of it, and just the how awkward and painful it's kind of been. And back when I lived in Winchester, I lived with my friend Cameron, and he was part of the Liberal Democrat Party. And I before living with him, I would talk about politics here or there with people who are interested, but we talk about politics probably weekly. And I learned a lot from talking to him, and I became more interested in politics. And it's I'm not here as a musician to preach to you like what you should believe in. The same way, like, I'm not here to preach to you about your religious beliefs. The EP is not, it's not me preaching. It's a punk rock EP. It's about outrage. It's about attitude and anger against just the stupidity, And I think no matter what side you fall on the Brexit argument, whichever way you voted, if you're here in the UK, I think there's something for you on this EP, because I think we can all agree that it's just gone on too long, and it's awkward and it's painful, and we just kind of want it to be over with. And that's what the EP is kind of about. It's kind of just a boom. I've been angry with this, and now's the time to get it out. So there you go. Originally, I wanted to have it out for October, but as I started recording it, the songs took longer, and I got ill for a little while, and so yeah, I took some time off, and just on Saturday I sent off the last song to Rob to mix. So now he's got all of them. Now ball's in Rob's court. He'll be sending me mixes back and forth online, and we'll agree on something, and then in the interim, I now need to think of music videos. So that's something we're going to do next year. So again, if you're not political, doesn't matter, you'll enjoy it. If you're for Brexit, if you're against Brexit, doesn't matter, you're probably going to enjoy it. So, or if you've no interest in it whatsoever and you just want to listen to some cool indie punk songs, you're probably going to enjoy it. So that's been the Brexit Trilogy EP. So it features Billy on bass for 2 of the tracks, and then Tom on bass on the last one, which was really cool. They're very different bass players, which makes it really interesting. Being able to have that variety at my disposal. Yeah, cool beans. So I brought up Billy. So one cool thing this year was that I got to do a podcast, which was a lot of fun. It's not been the most popular content on the channel, I must say. I think that's probably because it's audio only and it's a very niche subject. So me and Billy back in July started a podcast called The Weekend Rockstars. And The Weekend Rockstars podcast is basically a podcast mainly for musicians and kind of grassroots indie musicians who go around gigging and trying to make a living off music, or just try to grow a fan base. And so that's what we started the podcast about, and we wanted to talk about the things that we felt as musicians we had to just intuit over the years. And over the years we've just had to intuit a lot of things about being a musician. No one taught us how to do a lot of these things, which are just commonplace practice being a gigging musician. So we wanted to do a podcast to prepare a new generation or help out existing musicians. So we started doing that podcast, and it's been an audio only podcast. I put out a poll on the community tab of my channel, asking people to give me some feedback on the podcast because it had to stop during lockdown again. Hopefully, we can start up again in the new year. But the majority of people on the poll voted that they they would watch the podcast if it had video. So it was going to be difficult to do that, both of those things, but we're going to hopefully try it out in the new year. Me and Billy haven't talked a lot about it, but actually it's been a lot of fun. It's just meant for through July through to the end of October, we got to hang out every week pretty much and talk about music. So that was pretty cool. So if you're interested in music, you can go check out the podcast in its current form on the channel. There's a playlist for the Weekend Rock Stars. You can listen to that. And yeah, hopefully we'll be back for season 2 in the new year with video as well. So we'll give it a go. But yeah, we'll see how long this lockdown lasts. We can't do it again till it ends, really. So there you go. Anyway, if you're watching along live, thank you very much. We're nearly at the hour point. We're going to keep going. There's a lot to talk about here in 2020. And you can comment in the live chat if you want, and we can have a bit of a conversation. I'm just going to look at some of the things here in the chat. In the Garden and the Blessings. Yep, Tom was great on the guitar. That's referring to the Christmas song. Yep, he really did well there. Did a great job. 318 views now on the video Santa Don't Come Down My Chimney Anymore. Yes, so if you're watching along and you haven't heard the Christmas song yet, Santa Don't Come Down My Chimney Anymore, it's an original Christmas song that I wrote and recorded, played on, filmed, yada yada yada. It's on the channel. Please go listen to it. I really, really think it's worth your time. I think it can stand head to toe with the classics. That's how confident I am with it. So please go click on it. There's a link in the live chat to it. You can go click on that and then come back to the live chat because we'll still be here. Okay, yeah. So yeah, man, it's been a nuts year. I don't know how long it's going to go on for. Again, as what I do for work, because I don't get paid for YouTube yet. What I do for work is I'm a full-time musician, and as part of that, I do a lot of different things. Sometimes when you tell people you're a full-time musician, they think it's, oh, you just gig, or oh, you just do this or that, but actually it's a multitude of different things. And so how my finances kind of breaks down is that I go out and I gig, and I get paid for gigging. And so I'll get paid for playing, but while you're at the gig, you're plugging merch. You've got a merch store set up with T-shirts and CDs and badges and fridge magnets. I've got fridge magnets, by the way. You've got a merch table, so you're plugging that. So hopefully after the gig, people will come up to the merch table, they'll buy some merch, so you get paid for the gig and you sell some merch. Now, you don't make a lot of money off of merch as a musician because the money you're making from the merch basically goes back into buying more merch. So the merch is more a promotional material for your brand, for you as an artist, but it does put a little bit of money in your pocket. So booyah. On top of that, when you play a gig, you can also get royalties for playing. So the PRS, the Performing Rights Society, you sign up with them. It was 50 quid when I signed up in 2015. It's now £100. If you're a musician and you play lots of gigs in non-pandemic times, you should definitely sign up, because after you play the gig, you go into PRS, you say, I played at this venue at this date at this time, and these are the songs I played. And if they're original songs, guess what? You get paid again. You get paid again for having played your songs live. And then, yeah, you get paid quarterly for that. You get royalties coming in quarterly. So today got royalties in. It wasn't a lot. It was just for the gigs at the beginning of the year. So it was for 4 gigs that were all kind of half-hour slots. I got £35. It's not a lot, but if I'd played more gigs in that time, I would have made a lot more money. A couple years ago, the most amount I made with royalties was £300. I got £300 one month in performance royalties. And that's part of what feeds me and puts food in my mouth. So money from the gig, money from the merch, money from the royalties. Yeah. And so alongside that, that's the butter on my bread. But the bread itself is I teach music part-time in a prison. It has been several prisons in the past, but now it's just one again. I started as one, went up to three, and that's one. Anywho, so I teach music part time in a prison, but as soon as we went into lockdown, that was kind of that. I was put on furlough here in the UK, and so I haven't done my actual job since mid March, and so I've still been paid, which is great because I can still eat and survive and pay bills. But yeah, I've not done my job since mid March, which is just kind of crazy. You know, I was joking the other day to a friend. I was like, it's been a really interesting unofficial sabbatical because it's not been a big holiday because I've been here in the studio making stuff this entire time. You know, it's been more like a sabbatical because with a sabbatical, from what I understand, it's you get paid to take time off and focus on an area of study relating to your job, you know, something like that. And so that's kind of what I've done. So it's been an interesting unofficial sabbatical this year. That's what I like to refer to it as, rather than lockdown. Rather than isolation, unofficial sabbatical. That's what this year's been. Um, and yeah, I've been able to grow the YouTube channel. One of the big accomplishments of this year, I hit 1,000 subscribers back at the end of May. Hurrah! Awesome. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's subscribed to my channel. I hope everyone watching here is subscribed. Yeah, it's nuts that I managed to get there. Quick backstory on my YouTube channel is that I started my YouTube channel back in 2012 when my girlfriend broke up with me. And my first video on the channel is a really sad ukulele song that you can check out, that I did, you know, that I wrote after that. And so that's how I started my YouTube channel. And every couple years I would drip in and out of it, but never do anything serious with it. Then in 2018, I was touring and just not reaching new audiences, really. It felt like I was just going around in circles. So I started YouTube in January 2019, doing weekly videos, 2 a week, in order to reach new people. So I continued gigging, but I put more of an emphasis on YouTube last year. And I thought in 2020, I want to do both equally. That didn't work out. It's been another very heavy YouTube year, but that's not a bad thing. I love doing YouTube. And yeah, now I've hit 1,000 subscribers, we can do these live streams and stuff. I think I wasn't allowed to do live streams before. Maybe I was. I'm not sure. Anywho, we're here. Yeah. So I started up doing YouTube kind of every week in 2019 and building it. And at first, it was just me putting my phone up against a stack of DVDs in my old room in Winchester and dancing about and playing to it like I was playing live. And we grew and grew and grew. And then eventually in 2020 in May, we hit 1,000 subscribers. And now we're at like 1,070 something, which is really awesome. And so, yeah, the aim is to keep growing. The aim is to times that by 10. Because when I started at the beginning of last year, I had 51 subscribers. And by my birthday last year, at the beginning of July, I had 500 something, you know? So, yeah, I want to expand it. I want to keep reaching new audiences. That would be really awesome. And keep growing it. Yeah, man. And so part of it is part of this year has been just keeping the dream alive. You know, when I was little, when I was 9, I heard the song Bohemian Rhapsody for the first time, and it like switched on something in my head. I was like, I need to write songs and play them to people. And so I've been doing that now for nearly pretty much 20 years, you know. come May next year, it will be around 20 years, and that's insane. I've been writing songs and playing them to people pretty much, most of my life now, two-thirds of my life, and yeah, I'm very happy with all the stuff I've been able to accomplish. Um, and one thing is you have to temper expectations. I hoped by the time I was 29, I'd be a lot bigger than I was, in terms of like playing to huge crowds and doing that kind of thing. And it hasn't worked out that way. Life doesn't necessarily go the way you think it's going to go. Um, but I'm happy to say, like, in terms of levels of songwriting, I feel like I'm at the point I wanted to be, hopefully get to one day. When I was 9 and I wanted to start writing songs, you know, I think the level I'm at now, I'm happy with, and I hope to keep getting better. Um, so there's one thing I'm happy with. So I may not be big and famous yet, but still working towards that goal of one day playing Wembley Stadium. That's the dream, man. And it may seem crazy and it may seem far flung, and maybe it is, man. Maybe I'll never get there, but it's that dream that keeps me going. It's that dream that keeps me making YouTube videos and gigging and writing songs. I mean, I like writing songs for the sake of it because I love writing songs, but also I want to keep making better songs that one day I can, boom, get to, you know, reach a big audience. So that's the dream, man. So yeah, part of this year it's been hard because gigging, I didn't realize how important it was to me till I didn't have it. Gigging, when I play a gig, usually they go well. Usually I have a good interaction with the audience. They're good shows, they're really lively shows. People are singing along in my songs, like we have a really good time. And not having that, just, oh my word, it killed me. Really killed me not being able to play to a regular audience. And not having that immediate buzz and that immediate just like, whoo. I did a poem on the channel. I did a beat poem called I Miss Playing Gigs, which you can also listen to on the channel, which is kind of about my after gig ritual. See, when I lived in Winchester, I'd drive all over the country. I'd drive to Scotland and Wales, to the south, to the east, to the north, to the Midlands, everywhere to play gigs. And I haven't done that as much since moving home, building the studio, and then lockdown. But yeah, man. I travel all across the map and play gigs. And when I'd finish a gig, I'd be really hungry by the time I got home. It'd be like 2 a.m, and I'd be really hungry. And instead of just going to bed, I'd go to Tesco's. I'd go to the 24-hour Tesco's, and if it had been a bad gig, I'd get myself chocolate milk. If it had been a good gig, I would have got myself cheesecake. So yeah, that's what I would do. And so I kind of miss that after gig ritual as much as the gigs themselves. And yeah, that was part of it, man. Part of it was the traveling, and you don't realize what's gone until it's not there. But yeah, I feel like my self-esteem and my identity was wrapped up in gigging, and not getting to do it was a real challenge to me. Like, I hit some lows. Honestly, I hit some lows during the lockdown. Not necessarily because I was locked down, but because I couldn't do the thing that I felt I was best at. I couldn't go do the thing that made me feel great about myself, where I felt like I connected to people in a big and profound way. I was just blocked off from doing that, and that just upset me the most. And it was difficult. I had to do a lot of soul searching, and I went for a lot of long walks in between making YouTube videos. Do a lot of that, because you go, well, I need to find some equilibrium again. And it's going to sound corny. It's going to sound really corny, but part of what helped me through that was a TV series called Cobra Kai. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous, right? Obviously, if anyone knows Cobra Kai, it's a sequel to the Karate Kid movies, which I'd never seen either. But yeah, in watching Cobra Kai, there's a scene where one of the characters, he's teaching a younger character, and he says, "You got all this bad in your life, right? You need to find some balance. You need to think about the good. Find the good in your life so you can find some balance and bring it up." And hearing that, I was like, yeah, that's kind of what I need to do. And so I had to find that balance within myself and, bring up the good stuff, find the good stuff again, which meant I had to end some toxic relationships in my life. It meant I had to cut off contact with certain people that had been bringing me down, and yeah, I feel better because of it. One other major change I made, I don't know if you can notice yet. There's only two people I know that actually notice: Tom and my mum. But I started back in the beginning of September doing intermittent fasting, right? Which is where you only eat for a certain amount every day. And so I've been doing that pretty much non-stop since the beginning of September. And I have started to lose some weight, which is good. It's good to be healthy. I don't feel bloated all the time. I'm down a little bit in weight on the scales whenever I step on them. So that's good. So yeah, so that's been part of my creating balance where I haven't been able to gig. I was like, what can I work on in my life? And I thought my health is a good one. So that's it. Been doing intermittent fasting and feel like I'm getting results. Yeah. So yeah, so that's one thing, man. So yeah, it's been something, eh? It's been something, eh? Yeah, if you're watching along on the video, you can comment in the live chat and I'll do my best to respond and get a bit of a conversation going. Let's see here. In the garden and the blessings, you gotta try, don't give up on your dreams. That's it. Don't give up on your dreams. Like, even if I never become like a massive success, if I get to the end of my life and I know that I really tried my hard and I made some really cool stuff, I'll know that I die without regrets. I don't want to get morbid here, but one does think about that every now and then. Yeah, man. So yeah. So I've kind of paused on making music videos, and I won't be back with a new music video until the first week of January. That is because I want to put all my focus on the Christmas song, promoting it. I'm thinking of different ways. I'm thinking about maybe taking out a paid ad on Facebook or something to try and get some more eyeballs on it. That's the hope, because it's despite having over 1,000 subscribers, despite having over 1,000 likes on Facebook and having around 500 followers on Instagram, still getting people to care about something is hard, man. Getting people to watch something. So I've had a few days off from promoting the Christmas song to think about how I can do it. So I think I might do a paid ad. As I said, I just got some royalties through, so I might put that money back into the music by promoting that. So yeah, I'm taking the rest of the month off to focus on that, and then we'll be back to weekly music videos in the new year, and it will just be one video a week in the new year, until something changes, until we can do the podcast again when Billy will come back and we'll film it. So yeah, man. There you go. So we'll get there. I'm warm enough now, so I'm taking the coat off. Yeah. So on top of taking time off from making music videos to promote the Christmas song, I'm also working on something new, which I'm really excited about. I'm not going to share too many details about it because when I share this thing with you, I want it to be in production. I want it to be moving forward. I'm working on a musical, okay, which may sound insane, but I'm working on a musical. It's a dark comedy musical that's kind of deconstructing the kind of like a horror theme. So it's not going to be like a horror musical. It's going to have some of those elements. Like it might make you go, ugh, you know, might make your skin crawl on a few occasions. That's the idea of it, but it's supposed to make you laugh. That's the idea of it. And I've had this idea for a musical since my last year of university, which was in 2013. You know, that was my last year of university. I've had this idea since then, and I just haven't known how to do it. And I think I've needed the last 7 years of just experience and writing and gigging in order to get to a place where I feel like I can actually do it. And so my degree was in creative writing. And so during my degree, I wrote a lot of plays and screenplays and fiction prose. I wrote all sorts of things on top of writing song lyrics, writing songs, etc. So because of that, I got the training in it, and I've been just upping those skills ever since. So working on this musical, which I hope to, by the end of the year, have the plot fully sorted for it. Yeah, so that's where we're getting to. We got another comment in the chat. Oh, Mr. Craig Rule. Craig, how you doing? Craig says, "Hey man, glad to hear you're where you wanted to be musically when you started. Fingers crossed for Wembley. Musical sounds exciting." Yeah, the musical, it's very exciting. Yeah, hopefully I can get like the story for this musical done by the end of the year, and then I can spend next year writing it. So by my 30th birthday, which is July next year, by then I kind of want to have the first draft of the script written, plus have as many of the songs written as possible, and then I want to start showing it to people, and then might start sharing it on the channel. I don't know. The idea, my dream, is to make a film of it, because, as I've said, I'm always trying to find different ways to put myself out there. As I said, I was gigging for years. I was touring. I was going all across the UK, and it was just really hard to get people to care, about what we were doing. So I started doing YouTube, and I've been growing it, and yeah, I feel like I've met some amazing new people here in the chat. Everyone watching, like, I think you guys are amazing, and thank you so much for supporting what I do here. But still, as I said, channel of over 1,000 subscribers, Christmas song out that's really good, doesn't have 1,000 views. If every one of those people subscribed to me, watched it once, we would be there, wouldn't we? But for whatever reason, it's not there yet. So we got to keep working, and I got to find new ways to put myself out there. And so one way I'm thinking is about making a filmed musical, a feature film that is a musical, and that's the goal. I'm not going to share the title, even though I have the title. I'm very excited by it, but I'm getting there in terms of like the full story. I already have a few songs mapped out for it. I'll tell you some of my inspirations. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is an inspiration. Here's one you might not have heard of. Joss Whedon did a musical online during the writer's strike just over 10 years ago. It's called Dr. Horrible's Sing-Along Blog. And so if you haven't checked that out, and you like Joss Whedon, if you like Avengers and Firefly and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that sort of thing, you should check it out. It's all on YouTube, last time I checked. So that's an inspiration. So I really like those two as musicals. And I had another one a second ago. I had another one. There was another musical, and it's just, it's gone. But those two especially, and the movie Cabin in the Woods, again, another Joss Whedon thing. So I think if you took me, and then you took Cabin in the Woods, and you took Dr. Horrible's Sing-Along Blog, and just thrust them all together, you'd kind of get what I'm working on. So yeah, that's what we're going to work on next year. And yeah, the idea is to bring in as many cool creative people as possible, like as many people as I've ever met, to work on this thing and make it just make it something cool, make a really good film, and try to get it in some festivals and get it out there. We'll put the film up on YouTube, but yeah, the idea that if we could make it good enough, we could get it on a Netflix or get it on a streaming service, that would be great and help me to continue growing it, because I think my strength as a songwriter is it's lyrics and making tunes that get stuck in your head. So if I can do that with a musical, attaching that to a narrative, I feel like that would be a step forward for me as a creator. It would be like a big challenge as well, and I'm always after challenge. But again, hopefully we'll reach a new audience, and you guys will be part of this journey as I go about making it. So again, until I've got the songs and the first draft written, I won't be saying too much more about it. So that could happen anytime soon, because some days I just have these massive creative outbursts where new songs will come to me, new things will happen. And at the moment, I'm a little burned out. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, doing the Christmas song last month while also finishing off the Brexit EP, while also doing this other song with Tom, while also putting out the two other songs that I did last month. I just kind of like, once I pressed export on the video for the Christmas song, I started crying. And I'm not sure why. I don't know if it was because I was so proud of it that it was done, or whether I was just tired, or whether it was both. It was probably both, you know. I just kind of just like wept and haven't stopped weeping inside ever since. So I'm just taking the Christmas period off from making videos to hopefully regenerate some energy and hopefully use what creative energy is there, to finish up the structure for the musical. I have the first act of it. So I have the first 2 to 3 beats of a story, of which there are 8. So I've got to finish up where it goes, but it's going to be absolutely ludicrous. Oh, I remember the other musical that influenced me, and it's not like a full musical, but Team America. I don't know if you guys have seen Team America. I know Craig has, but Team America is another influence going into it. It's not going to be puppets; it's going to be live action, but it's going to be funny and silly and dark. So yeah, that's something to work on in the new year. I'm also I'm working on doing a re-release of my third album, From Stains with Love. When that came out, there were some things that happened behind the scenes that weren't great. I don't want to give theatre to that, so I'm not going to say what exactly, but some things behind the scenes with the third album weren't great, and so it kind of darkened the release of it, and yeah, the whole release plan for the album, it kind of went under because that happened. I had to look in potentially getting legal advice. Not that I'd ripped anyone off. That's not it at all. None of it's ripped off. It's all my own material, you know. But someone involved in that album was not a happy bunny, to say the least. And so, yeah, all the gigs I had around that album had this dark cloud over it, and it just really like soured the experience, and I wasn't able to tour it, because of what this person said and did. And so when it got to this year, I thought I'm gonna do another tour for it. I'm gonna put it out there again, and we'll start again with this. But then lockdown happened, so I've had more time to sort of work on it. So when the album comes out, it will be a slightly tweaked version of what it was. This person behind the scenes, their parts will be removed from it, and it will all be gravy. And yeah, we will go into hopefully 2020 having that near finished. Me and Rob have been working on that. Tom has put some little parts in it again, and again, it's the same album that it was, just with someone else playing the parts that were previously on there, plus with a slightly improved mix and master. So, there you go. So yeah, we definitely haven't re-recorded the whole thing from scratch. Yeah, so we're going to do that. So it's going to be Brexit EP. Then we're going to re-release the third album, so long as I can tour it and get a band together for it. And then moving forward with getting production on the musical going. And in the meantime, I'm just doing demos for album number 4 as well. I know it's a lot. So I've done 7 of the 12 songs for my 4th album, which is going to have my song Two Cats on it. By the way, someone ripped off Two Cats this year. Took credit for writing it, did their own version of it, put it out there, and I had to have a conversation with this person. I did a whole video about it. And someone ripped it off, and we ended up having this conversation, and now we're kind of friends. It's kind of bizarre, but yeah, there you go. There's the weirdness of 2020, So yeah, dude, if you're watching on my books, you're all right on my books now. It's all cool. But that happened. That was a weird couple of days. Yeah, man. So yeah, I'm moving ahead with an album with Two Cats on it, and Tom's going to play in it, and we're going to get a whole bunch of other people on it. Basically, what I'm doing at the moment is I'm in pre-production on it, which means I'm recording demos for it, like good sounding demos. I'm making videos for them on YouTube, so you guys can be part of my process. So I've done 7 of those. I've got to do this other 5, and once that's done, I'm going to send all 12 songs out to some musician friends who will then come up with their own ideas. They'll come to the studio, put their own parts in it, and then we'll put it out there. And yeah, depending on how long it takes me to do that, that could be a release in 2021 or 2022. Again, if I feel things are really picking up with either the third album or the musical, things might go a different way. But those are the kind of different directions heading in next year. Again, next year, I really want to get back to gigging because, as I said, it's been hard not gigging this year, and I've had to find my Miyagi balance in other ways. I'd really like to get back to gigging and gigging with a band as well, and having that sort of community again. And just get back to going to the cinema and things again, man, because going to the cinema is a big part of what inspires me as a musician. You might think, doesn't not other musicians inspire you? And yes, they do, but I watch more movies than I listen to other music, and I love music, and I know a lot about certain bands and things like that. But yeah, last few years I haven't done big deep dives into new bands. Tom, actually, when we were recording the Christmas song, he'd come round and we'd watch a lot of the Tiny Desk concerts, and he showed me a whole bunch of bands that I'd never heard of. I think one of them is called Superorganism. They were great, really quirky and interesting. And then another one called Moon Hooch, which had 2 sax players and a drummer. And one of the sax players had a traffic cone coming out of the horn of his saxophone. And just, yeah, one of the coolest things I've heard. Like the whole time we were watching it, he'll tell you, I was just like transfixed. I was like, what am I experiencing? So I've discovered some new music. But yeah, going to the movies really inspired me as an artist. Movies have always been a big inspiration. It's only in recent years I've really realized like how much movie music when I was growing up had an influence on my songwriting and my melodies and things like that. I think John Williams, actually, from the Star Wars movies, from Jaws, from Indiana Jones, I think has had a huge impact on melodies. I've had to stop myself sometimes going, is this a bit too John Williams what I'm coming up with here? Yeah, man, that'd be something. So yeah, last year I saw 26 movies at the cinema, which is not normal. I don't usually see that many, but I saw 26 movies at the cinema last year, and I went to the cinema around 40 times. So I saw some of those multiple times, and so I look forward to getting back into that again, man. Because yeah, I'll walk out of a movie and sometimes there'll be a song, part of the soundtrack that will linger around, and it will just, it will birth new things. So I like taking music in new ways. I love seeing live music. I love listening to it. I love it in movies. And yeah, man, part of being a musician and part of being an artist in general is you just need to live a life and let things influence you. Sometimes it's other art, sometimes it's life, sometimes it's nature, And when you have one of those strands cut off, it limits the inspiration, because if you're putting out a lot of content, you also need to take in a lot of stuff. I found that in my own personal faith, that actually, I needed to, take in and absorb like good stuff to do with my faith. Um, and if I was just putting out more of myself in that context and not taking a lot in, I just feel all dried and run down. So yeah, you have to keep filling up on the good stuff in life. Um, and so yeah, when you're not allowed to do certain things like we haven't been this year, it is a big challenge, and you have to look at those other areas that you've maybe not attended to recently and find things there. Yeah, it's been part of it, man. It's been tricky. But again, yeah, focusing on diet and weight and stuff like that has helped. Going for walks in nature has been a big help, and just praying and having headspace for that whole side of my life has also been good. And obviously, having a creative outlet has been super awesome. Being able to do stuff on YouTube has been great. Yeah, in terms of my favorite things I've done on YouTube this year, I don't know if I've got a top 5. Um, this isn't me like ranking my songs in terms of what I think are the best, because that's really arrogant and up yourself. And even though I like my music a lot and I like listening to it back, I'm not one of those artists who hates listening to themselves. I like my songs. I don't think I would write as many songs if I didn't like listening to myself. But yeah, in terms of the experience of making them, I think the Western song that I did, Showdown at Cookie Town, was a really fun experience because I don't usually do instrumental, so that was a lot of fun. Um, Doing the song Past Life, the cover of that I did, was really fun because it started off, it was just going to be drums and vocals, and that's all it was going to be. And then as I went through the song, I started hearing other instruments, and it slowly came together. And yeah, it was just a really fun journey putting that together. The Christmas song obviously has probably been the experience of the year in terms of writing something, because it is the most recorded tracks in it of anything I've done this year. And it was just a really fun collaboration. It was just me and Tom hanging out and just twinkling around with the songs on the keys of the guitar and going, oh, let's just try this out and see how it sounds. And then boom, you just hit upon something and you go, oh, this is cool. Oh, this is even cooler now. Oh, it's even, and so that was just really fun. At the end of the day, it's not always about the end result of the song. It's about the journey to get there. I've got some other songs that I haven't done big band productions of yet, because I'm planning on recording those songs for something else down the line. I'm always like ahead of myself in terms of like albums and releases. So um, I've got the 4th album that I'm currently recording and putting together, but I've got pretty much the track list ready for album 5, right? I've got that ready. I kind of know what I want to do with it. It's gonna be a bit more Beatles-esque in terms of melody, and I really like those songs. But one of the songs I've got intended for that is one called I'm Always Moving On From You. And yeah, early this year, I had someone come back into my life very briefly, who had an influence on the writing of that song, which had stalled. And when we kind of stopped talking, I kind of knew how to finish the song, which is bizarre how that happens. But I finished the song off, and yeah, it was the end of the journey. it felt like the end of the journey with someone, you know, it cemented in the end of a journey in a song. And yeah, in finishing that song off, I was able to concretely put some feelings aside and go, yeah, I don't feel those things anymore for that person. That's good. I feel good at where I'm at in my life. And yeah, so that song, I'm always moving on from you, took a long time to get finished. It taken me about 2 or 3 years, but it's there. It's it's there. It's there. And yeah, I look forward to one day doing a big full band production, but gonna put that one on the back burner. Hopefully play it live a lot next year. Um, so yeah, so that was one that was a lot of fun to do as well. Um, and yeah, I think that's it. Again, all the songs I did with Tom were really rewarding. Um, yeah, man. And it's been, in conclusion, we're going to conclude now. um, to conclude, this year it has been restrictive, but as a creative, I know that within restrictions, you can find creativity, that you have to be creative within those restrictions in order to make the best out of it and to make it more than it perhaps is. And when I look back on 2020, do I feel sad about certain things? Yes. Do I feel happy about certain things? Yes. And I'm really I'm really pleased that I feel like I've used this time well, and I feel like I've been able to actually accomplish things. Um, and I feel good. I feel now that I'd be I'm more employable now than when I was at the beginning of lockdown, because I've more experience making videos, the editing, the filming, everything that goes into it, with mixing a song. I've got all of that. But also just like in composing a song, I've got lots more experience there. So I feel like I've got that as well. And plus, I feel like with this lockdown, yeah, it it challenges you to be more patient, because the days do become very repetitive, and it challenges you to be patient and challenges you to go, let's just take each day as it comes. And that's something I discovered early on. I discovered, I think, as people, in our minds at least, we're living weeks and months and sometimes years ahead of where we actually are. And sorry, Star Wars reference, but Yoda, when he's scolding Luke and Empire, says, you know, um, I think he's talking about Anakin. He's talking about always looking to the horizon, always looking at what will be rather than, where he was, what he was doing, being in the here and now, being in the present. And I think it's a challenge. I think we can all be like that. I think we either live too much in the past because it's already happened. We know it happened. So we can live there in our heads, or we can live in the future a bit too much and become a bit too dreamy. So we can get a bit dreary or a bit dreamy. It's very rare that we sit. Um, yeah, it's very rare that we sit in the moment. Right, it's very rare that we're like, I'm right here. Let's be here. Let's be present. And yeah, it's been a big challenge to go, right, I can't look weeks and months ahead. I can't do that. I can't look ahead to, oh, there's a festival coming there. I've got an album release there. I'm going to do this then. I'm going to do this then. None of that. None of that big event stuff. None of that. Instead, you have to take it day by day. And I think there's something really healthy to that. And something of that I don't want to lose from this year. Something there where you go, there's something to being in the moment. And I think we can drift too much in the past or too much in the future to actually, you know, be here now. That's important. And I want to keep that moving ahead. So those are my big feelings. Yeah, we are concluding here, but if anyone wants to chip in the live chat, you can say hello. You can say if there was anything here that I haven't covered from 2020. I don't know if there is, or if there's anything you've enjoyed from this little live stream. But yeah, I'm going to jump down into the comments now. Craig, yep. In the Garden of the Blessings. Yes, I miss the feeling of the weekend. It all feels like the days are the same somewhat. Yeah. As I said, yeah, it's every day has been Blur's day. Every day kind of blurs into the next, and you have to. We all have to be productive in our own ways, whatever that looks like, whether that means, journaling or cooking or gardening or making music. Do the thing that you can do today to make it different and special and unique and meaningful. I hate sitting around like the last week. I tell you what, I've been playing video games a lot over the last week and watching a lot of Star Wars. That's what I've spent the last week doing. And as much as I love doing both of those things, it's driven me insane because after putting in weeks and weeks of work doing the Christmas song to then go to doing nothing drives me mad. I hate when I have to go do a job that I don't want to do. Thankfully, all the work I do, I quite enjoy now. But in the past, I've had jobs where I'd wake up and go, ugh, I have to go to work, and it would be a drag. I hate doing that, but I love doing work that I want to do, and I want to do more of it. And I've driven my family insane over the last week because I'm just like, I should be in the studio doing something. I should be going and doing something and making some music. They're just like, shut up and watch something. They're really good at relaxing. I'm just not. I'm awful. I think hopefully one day when I have a bit more money, I'll go on holiday. When I'm allowed to, I'll go on holiday. And that'll be a way to get away. I always feel refreshed after a holiday. I could really do with lying on a hot beach right now and drinking beer. That'd be really good. That'd be really relaxing. That cuts up the monotony. A good old holiday. But alas, can't do that right now. Hopefully 2021 will be a better year. It will hopefully be a year where we get to hug loved ones again that we haven't been able to see, hug our friends, go back to our jobs, go back to our lives. But hopefully we're all gonna we're gonna grow. We've got another comment in the chat. In the Garden and the Blessings, do you go to Spain? Yes, I do go to Spain. I actually have some Spanish blood there somewhere. I'm like 1/8 Spanish or something like that. I can't remember what side of the family get it from, but I do go to Spain. I've been to Spain a lot. I've played gigs in Spain. When I was younger, I went and played shows in Spain. The school I went to was a music school, and so we every 2 years we'd jump in the coach and we'd drive around Spain and play gigs. That was my first experience of touring. My experiences of touring have not been as glamorous ever since. Driving around Leeds is not the same as driving around Tossa del Mar before you play a gig there. Hopefully I can go back to Spain. That would be really lovely. I'd love to go to Amsterdam next year. I'm not going to say why, but I would really love to go to Amsterdam. That would be lovely. And I'd love to go to all sorts of countries. I want to gig in all sorts of countries. That just the day that I can jump on a flight and go gig in another country and not be worried about money, that will be a good day. Alas, that's it for today's live stream, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciated it. Appreciate all the comments. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who's been in the comments saying lovely things and asking questions. Really appreciated it. Thank you for everyone watching, everyone who's liked. If you haven't yet, you can check out the Christmas song. Please check out the Christmas song. If you're watching, I really beg of you to go do it. Let's get let's get this Christmas song to number 1. There's a link to it in the live chat, so you can check it out there. But yes, I've been Scott Freeman. I hope you've enjoyed this. I will be back in the first week of January with my next video. I will be off the next few weeks. I'm going to work on my musical and work on recording things in here in the meantime so that we can kick off 2021 really strong with some awesome music videos. Let's get the Christmas song to 1,000 views by December 25th. let's go for it. Cheers, guys. Stay awesome. Have a great Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, happy holidays. Stay awesome. See you soon. Peace.